first thing we're going to do is get some chicken thighs, and we're going to marinate these so we can let them sit with that delicious flavor while we cook everything else. So I started with about 4 chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, and added them to a bowl. To that I added some spices that you could see: oregano, paprika, black pepper, coriander powder, garlic powder, cumin powder, olive oil, and lemon juice. Then I mixed these chicken thighs up. Make sure your seasoning is very well coated. It coats all sides of the chicken and evenly. And then once that's done, we're going to get started on our lamb. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to blend up half an onion, 4 cloves of garlic, and a full jalapeno. Once you got that blended up, we're going to add cumin powder, paprika, and oregano. Mix it together and you should come out with a paste. Then we're going to add about a pound of ground lamb. I was actually surprised that they don't use pieces of lamb, but actually ground lamb is used. But then we're going to mix our ground lamb with all of that paste that we just made, and then in a greased baking pan, we're going to flatten this out and compress it. Make sure you compress the lamb so it is tight. Now while we let our chicken and our lamb marinate, we're going to get started on the infamous white sauce. So the way I made this white sauce is by using a 1-to-1 ratio of Greek yogurt and mayonnaise. So I used half a cup of each, and then to that I added black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, white vinegar, and lemon juice. Then I gave this a mix, and by the time that was done, you get this delicious creamy white sauce that you should cover all parts of the chicken with. Next, we're going to make our red sauce, our hot sauce. So I started with about 4 dried chilies, and I put boiling hot water on them to rehydrate them. Adding them into a blender, I added also garlic powder, cumin, paprika, salt, and then finally lemon juice and vinegar to top that off. To finish it off, I added a full tomato and then I blended it. Once that's done, you'll get this delicious spicy sauce that will be great to top your chicken. And so the next component of this is a delicious flavored rice. So first thing I did is I started by melting a good amount of butter in a pan and toasting a cinnamon stick and some cumin seeds. Once the butter is brown but not burned and the cumin seeds are toasted, I'm going to add some garlic powder, some turmeric, and some cardamom powder to that. To that, I'm going to add 1.5 cups of basmati rice. Make sure it's washed and dried. And then once I added that, I'm going to add 3 cups of water, or you could add chicken stock, but I just had water for now, and that's going to work perfectly fine. Give that a mix, and once it comes up to a boil, drop the heat down to a simmer, put the top on it, and cook it for 18 minutes exactly. So now what we're going to want to do is with that ground lamb that we just compressed in that baking pan, cook it at 400 degrees for 15 minutes or until it reaches 160 degrees internal. Well done, properly cooked. And once that's done, let it cool, and it should be looking like this. So I'm just going to chop this into slices, and then I'm going to chop these into cubes. This is how we're going to get that cube texture and that cube shape for the cart. And so next thing we're going to do with that is once you get it chopped up like cubes, we're going to throw some butter and some oil into a pan, get that nice and hot. Throw in some bell peppers. We're going to get some nice caramelization on these bell peppers. And once we get that, we're going to throw down these lamb and cook it on all sides, giving it a nice sear so we could get it caramelized and brown on every side, and we could get it to become a nice tough texture on the outside while still retaining a tender and not chewy inside texture. Also, this is just a side note, make sure before you chop the lamb that it is completely cooled, because if it is not, it might end up a little bit like mine and it might break a little bit apart. But thankfully I was able to let it cool a bit more so it withheld its cube texture and shape. And so once your lamb is like this, it's going to be done, and now we're going to get started on cooking the chicken. So now to cook the chicken, I started by melting some butter down in a pan and placing my chicken thighs on it. I don't know, I forgot to record it, but it's pretty simple. I just did that, and then I pressed them down. After about a few minutes, 3-4 minutes, I flip these over and already look at the amazing crust that's forming on this chicken. It looks delicious, ready to eat right now, but it's still raw, and we need to cook it for another 3-4 minutes on that side. After those 3 or 4 minutes and it's starting to get cooked but it's still a little raw, we're going to start breaking this chicken apart. I used a wooden spatula and then eventually took my metal spoon and started to break these apart into small pieces that do not have to be even, and you just want them to be small enough to fit onto a fork with some rice and some lamb and some sauce on it. So after a little while of breaking this apart, I got it to look like this, and I'm still going to continue to break it apart a little bit more, but this will also help cook it faster because there's more surface area on the chicken and help it to get more flavor, since that butter that has now picked up the flavor from the spices on the chicken is now going to be on every crack and crevice of the chicken. So when it's like this, cut into small pieces and looks delicious and ready to eat right now, it's done. Try it. And let me know how it is.
So good.
It looks actually good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I really wish I was a vegetarian.
I think that up. It's actually good. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, try the chicken and the lamb because there's both.
Wait, what is the chicken?
The chicken's on like the side there and the lamb's in the middle. And yours, I think that's chicken and then there's lamb.
Well, it's not really yo. I actually was not expecting this.
Yeah, how's the sauce?
Yeah, it's fire. You made the sauce right yourself?
Yeah, I made the white sauce and the hot sauce. But everything from scratch.
It looks like you got.